Hey there, and welcome back to episode 3 in the Brand Together series, Ways to Launch Your Brand. So how did you enjoy that first couple of sessions? I mean, hopefully they've given you a great starting place for exploring and developing your own brand. And of course, really shown you the value of doing that deeper strategic work on your brand before you get started with your visuals. So today, we've got a bit of a special class for you because tonight's class is part of what I teach in my brand and launch program, and I've never shared this online for free before. Tonight, we're going to dive into the world of brand launches. Now, this is a little piece of the brand world that really often gets forgotten, but is as important as the brand clarity work that you do at the very beginning of your brand journey, because your brand launch really bookends the experience as you finally get to launch your confident new brand to the world of your perfect customers. Now that sounds pretty dreamy, right? So hopefully by now you have a pretty good idea of who I am. If you've been through the previous episodes in this series, then I won't go into full introduction mode here. But for those that are new or have just jumped right in to this part of the series, then hello and welcome. I'm Dee Woodward, and I'm the ballsy entrepreneur's go-to for creating powerful strategy, sound structure, irresistible offerings, and an unforgettable brand. And tonight, we're talking brand launches, and more specifically, 8 ways to launch your brand. We're going to be diving into why you need to launch your brand, how to really prepare your brand for launch, and I'm going to introduce you to the brand launch laws. And then we're going to go into those 8 brand launch strategies that you can steal from tonight and start planning to use in your own brand launch. So let's get cracking. Why you need to launch your brand. So you've invested all this time, cash, blood and tears into discovering your brand clarity. At this point, you've got your brand confidence oozing out of you. Your logo is, finally up there with the absolute best of the best, the kind that leaves a real mark on your perfect customer's soul. And that's all from one little graphic, let alone all of the rest of the design pieces that come together to create your unforgettable brand. And you didn't even know it was possible to leave that kind of mark on your customers until you went all in and creating this kind of brand that you want to be known for. So now what? Do you just switch your website over to a new style? Are you just updating your Facebook header in hope that the right people see it and understand it? No. But unfortunately, that's what so many people do when it comes to the end of their brand journey. They do all this work, but yet they don't make any plans for what's next. Now, you wouldn't launch a new product or a program without some sort of warm-up, without some sort of event to get people really wanting to hear from you. So why do we see so many people get into the most exciting part of the brand process and then nothing? Tumbleweeds. Now, I was actually looking for a good tumbleweeds picture to go in here, but then I realized I actually quite love the look of the word itself on its own better. Anywho, your new brand wants to make an impression on the world. That's what it's here for. That's what it's been designed to do. Your brand has to stand out now in a world that is already bursting with brands that people are invested in. And it's chock with marketing messages everywhere out there, and new products and services are being launched the internet over. So how do you get people, your people, to pay attention to your brand? And the answer is, you've got to create an outstanding, assertive launch for your new brand. Because you've spent all those hours building your business and you've now discovered your brand. So let's take the time to plan how you're going to let the world know about it. And whether you're starting from brand new or you're rebranding an already established business, these laws will save you countless headaches and just as many pounds when you go to introduce your brand to the world. Introducing the brand launch laws and how to prep your brand for launch. So, law number 1, give yourself time. Launching your brand is an exhilarating event, and it really can be hard to have to wait until all of those many pieces are ready for you to launch. But a bit of patience will make the big event all that more rewarding. So give yourself and your team plenty of time to really make sure that a sound launch strategy is in place before you go to reveal your new brand. Because you only really get to do this once, unless you're going to rebrand again, but hopefully you won't have to. Most people, think about it, they take years to plan their wedding, and launching your brand is easily as important as that, if not more. But then, I'm not one for long drawn out planning, because my wedding took about 3 months to go from idea to done deal. And that really is about as long as you should allow to prepare for your brand launch. But you don't need to wait until your brand design has been completed and all of those graphics are ready to go live to start planning your launch. Your brand launch plans should be part of the brand design process. In fact, make a note of that right now, so that whoever you work with on your brand, make sure they factor in a stage for your brand launch. And that can happen alongside your brand design work. You can start planning your brand launch from the moment you've got clear brand clarity, which is sneakily why this class is following on from the last one. So give yourself this time to really plan your launch. Give yourself time in the brand process. Allows you to have space to really start building the hype for your brand, while still giving you time to make sure that all of the moving pieces for your brand are in order and ready to go. Maybe you could design a holding page for your website, but don't just direct it to one of those something is coming pages, or worse, one of those we're making some changes to our website page. Well, they're so devoid of any human emotion. And we know from the previous work we've been doing that that's the connection that we're looking to in our brands. So whilst you're going through a rebrand or you're about to launch, get a page up and let people into a glimpse of what it's going to be like to connect with your brand. Use this space to start to tease about what's to come. So maybe include some clues to your new brand style. Use some brand imagery if you've got that ready. But make it a fun place to really experiment with your newfound brand clarity. And maybe you can include a countdown timer for a sense of excitement. Something like this. Perhaps it's just a simple page that's a countdown to your private launch party. Make the page an invite and absolutely include an email capture form on it. It doesn't have to be anything kind of content specific. It could just be as fun as, grab yourself a ticket to our VIP launch event or just reserve my ticket. Let this idea really inspire you here, and just always give yourself more time than you think you'll need to be ready to launch. And creating pages like this just allows you to bridge that gap until you are ready to fully make the announcement to the world. Because a well-planned brand launch really allows you to re-engage with existing customers and captivate new ones. And when done well, can significantly increase sales. Now, a poorly planned launch is going to lead to confusion and often a bit of backlash and dispute from customers who don't fully understand why you'd want to change anything. So you've only got one chance to make a first impression. So make sure you get it right by giving yourself time to do it fully. Law number 2, tell the story. Why are you rebranding? Let people know what's going on behind the brand. So position your brand launch as a fundamental piece of a wider story. Were there industry changes that showed that you really had a need to rebrand? Or was there a change inside your business that really required a refresh of the way that you do your brand? And what does all of this mean for your customers? Don't forget about the what's in it for me and what does that mean for your customers. Now, as an example, when Airbnb launched their new brand identity, they quite cleverly navigated around any potential backlash towards their rebrand by making sure their audience understood and knew that there was a deeper reason behind the changes that they were making, and that these were unquestionably related to the deeper story that they wanted to tell with their brand. By telling the story behind your rebrand, behind the decisions that you're making to change things, and connecting your new identity to that bigger story rather than just the visual changes that the world gets to see, your new brand really becomes an evolution with much greater significance and purpose than what those miffed audiences may see as just an unnecessary change to your logo. Law number 3, know your audience. So your goal is to really develop a strategy for your launch that will get your brand in front of as many eyes as possible. But you also want those eyes to be the right eyes, the eyes of your perfect customers. Because it's really no use launching your brand to people who don't want what you've got, or worse, that you are not interested in working with. And so that's why we go deep on understanding who your potential customers are and what's important to them at that brand clarity stage. So go back to that second episode in this series for more on brand clarity. Now, one more thing. When it comes to your audience, before you plan your brand launch, take note of what your competitors' audience is like. Do a bit of stealth stalking to find out who they're targeting and how they're promoting their business. Your goal is to really get an idea of what they're up to, so you can be sure what you're doing is going to be a contrast and original and stand out. Because when you know who your audience is, it's much easier to determine when and how you should launch your brand to those people. Law number 4, brand everything. So after deciding on the name of your business and creating a logo and designing your website, you need to continue branding every aspect of your business. And the number of different ways your audience can experience your brand is really quite enough to make your head spin. There's your website, you've got social media, marketing, collateral signings, business stationery, lead magnets, advertising. The list goes on and on and on. You can't create significant brand recognition if your brand isn't consistent across all of the platforms you use. So don't forget to brand everything. And yes, it's a pain. Yes, you may want to really hand over the nitpicking of all of the places that your brand currently shows up that will need updating over to someone else. But it is crucial that all of these touch points are updated before you unveil your brand to the world. Now, you can go and grab a copy of the brand touchpoints checklist for an overall kind of list of the many different points that your brand may already be touching. But you want your brand to be an instantly kind of known piece. And when someone finds you, wherever they find you, you want them to instantly know that it's you and it's your brand. Because there's nothing more confusing or ineffective than an inconsistent brand launch. Law number 5, brand in mystery. So if you make your brand launch an exciting, can't miss event for your audience, then people will be absolutely counting down the days until they get to see what it is you're talking about. And you want to do that by building in a little mystery. It goes a long way. So don't give away too many details about your brand before the launch. You want to tease your followers with subtle hints on social media or show a little bit of behind the scenes work. Maybe start to reveal some parts of the design creative as it gets closer to the launch time. But start sharing your brand story. Create videos that are going to stir up excitement, and think about starting that countdown timer to launch your new brand on your website. There's nothing more exciting than knowing that something is about to happen. And there are so many different ways that you can build anticipation around your brand. Of course, you're going to want to choose the ones that really reflect your brand style and that fit your brand values. But the more excited people get about your business, the better. You'll have a swarm of activity on that launch day with people coming to check out what you've been hinting at for months. So always brand in some mystery. Then law number 6, launch your brand. And that may sound like a silly one to put in there, but you've actually got to launch your brand at some point. So introducing your new brand to the world is a thrilling, kind of hair-raising, makes you kind of a little bit sick in a good way thing to do. But it's not every day that you get to really showcase something so full of purpose and strategy and inspiration, and it's all yours. You created this brand. Its roots are absolutely woven with yours, and that's a pretty exciting thing to get to show the world. But that said, don't go getting all trigger happy on that publish button. You don't want to risk revealing your new brand before its official launch date. All of the effort that you've put in for your brand launch could be diluted by an overexcited start. So give yourself and your team enough time to make sure all of those new assets are ready to be developed and deployed and sent out into the world at the same time, or, as close to the same time as possible. Schedule your emails, schedule all your social media updates, get all of those graphics organized and ready to go live. And then when everything is ready, go for it, and really go for it. Use every tool you have to shout about your brand, from emails and press releases to social media and events. Everything that you can use it, and choose one of the launch strategies and really go all in on making it your moment, because this is your brand's big moment. It's not time to be shy. And then finally, law number 7, keep branding. So your brand launch is just the beginning. Now your new brand is out there. You've got all of those eyes on you. And now it's time to keep the momentum going and continue to wow your audience with the full experience of your brand for the long term. So your brand launch really sets the stage for everything that's to come. Now it's time to keep consistent with your content creation and plan your marketing campaigns and keep on top of your brand development. And don't let the power of your brand launch that you've created up to this point fall flat when it's just really getting started. Your brand is never done. It's a living, powerful system that really calls for regular maintenance to survive and thrive. So here's a little recap of all of those laws. Law number 1, give yourself time. Law number 2, tell the story. Number 3, know your audience. Number 4, brand everything and do it by branding in mystery. Then launch your brand and keep branding. So launching a new brand doesn't have to be a scary thing. It doesn't have to be a big, complicated thing, but with a brand launch strategy, you'll make a really powerful first impression and continue to grow that tribe of your perfect customers. So remember these laws and you'll be showing up confidently as the leader that you are, even if your brand is brand new. So let's dive in to the real juicy part of tonight's session, the ways to launch your brand. So these are 8 brand launch strategies that I've used and tried and tested over my years as a brand strategist and designer, and they're here for you to be able to steal. So you know why you need to launch your brand and the steps that you can take to really ensure that your brand launch is a success. So now let's look at some steal-worthy brand launch strategies and why they might be perfect or maybe not for your brand. So as we go through these, make a little note of the ones that you think might work for your brand, and then you can circle back and look at these when you are ready to start planning your brand launch. Now, as I said, these are all some of my kind of personal favorite launch strategies. There are bound to be others out there, and you can absolutely make up your own. So don't feel like you have to choose one of these 8, because you can create any kind of launch for your brand. So long as it fits your brand style, then it's going to be perfect. But these are my top favorites. So number 1, the brand challenge launch. So this is kind of easily one of the most easiest ways that you can launch your brand, and you don't really have to keep it just for launch day. So this is a really great brand launching strategy that you can use multiple times of the year, whether it's just because you want to get some more interest in your brand, or if you've got a new service or product coming out, it can easily be used to promote something like that as well. But I first used this style of launch with a personal stylist brand, and that was going back about 6 or 7 years ago now. But it's just as effective today as it was then. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the graphics from that exact launch to be able to show you, because those files died a death with my old Mac back in 2015. But the simple idea behind this style launch is that you host a challenge and you share it on your social platforms and in your email, and you really encourage as many people to get involved and share in the fun as possible. So for this brand launch style to work, you really need to have a brand that lends itself to something fun and easy for people to take part in. So think of all those kind of charity-based social media challenges that start to take on a life of their own, but we want to use this kind of magic for our brand launching. So set a time frame, maybe it's a week or two or even a month, and then set a small kind of easy to follow challenge every day that relates to your business and brand. So for the personal stylist brand that we launched, we did a Style Me September challenge, and every day that month, we'd share a simple style challenge that your audience could join in with at home and encourage everyone to then share photos of themselves taking part in the challenge and tag their style sisters. So this worked brilliantly for this brand and their perfect customers because they all loved joining in, and it really reflected the kind of easy, fun style of the brand. So it was an all-round brand launch winner. But could this work for you? So remember the work that we've done on your brand clarity and ask yourself if this fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customers want to experience from you. Always come back to those two questions. Number two, jumping ahead of myself there. This is also one of my personal favorites because, well, I am just going to jump straight in and show you first of all. So this is what the branded content takeover really looks like. It is a stack of beautifully branded content that you will flood your social media with over a short time. And it works really great if the content all relates to an opt-in that you'll have set up ready for the launch. So you can link all of your content sharing back to a related opt-in to really help grow your email list, while also getting your branded content out there and in front of your perfect people. So this is a launch that I did for the wonderful Victoria, and we created her Stronger Than Thought brand. And so that pops up time and time throughout the process, but we're really sharing a lot of insights into the process and the thought behind her brand so that she can really start to engage with and connect with those perfect people. So this launch style really kind of works for pretty much everyone because it's based on your content and your brand. So as long as you have a brand and you have something to talk about, then you're pretty much good to go with this style. But remember, ask yourself those two questions. What do you want to be known for? And what do your perfect customers want to experience? Okay, now we get to number 3, the branded website hunt. Now this one quite floored me the first time I actually saw it. And I first spotted it on a brand launch for the Middle Finger project, and it was on their website. So when they rebranded a few years back, they hosted a website hunt, and they had hidden lots of clues around their new website. And when you found them, they led you through the website. So you got a really good look around all of that. And then you won a surprise gift at the end. Now, I won't spoil you with what the gift was, but what a brilliant idea. And I've since seen it used in a few different ways on different brand launches. And it's such a fun idea. It will take a chunk of work. So you will need to factor that in to the time that you allow yourself to do this. But what a really great way to get people excited about what you do and to get all of those eyes all over your website right at the time that you're launching. And the prize? Well, it could be anything really, but I would recommend it being something simple but valuable in a digital kind of download format of some sorts, because you don't really want to go over egging the prize here. So could this style of launch work for you? And remember all of the work that you've done on your brand clarity, and ask yourself if it fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customers want to experience from you. And if you do this launch, I really want to see it. I absolutely love a website hunt. So if you launch like this, then let me know, and I can hopefully use you perhaps as an example on this slide the next time too. So ways to launch your brand number 4, the Stalk You Everywhere launch. Now this one will need some advanced tactics deployed, and you're going to be using kind of Facebook pixels and ad campaigns. So you need to really be going through more of a brand update or a refresh rather than starting from scratch here, because you'll be using your Facebook pixel and ad campaigns to show your new brand to a lookalike list, hopefully one that's been built from your current website visitors. So we're going to be getting all fancy pants and creating different kind of brand campaigns to go out to your past customers and all of those audience lurkers that you've been gathering over the years, along with the ones for those new lookalike audiences. And this one means that you are list building as you launch, which, side note, you should always factor into any brand launch that you're planning for, but this one's already got it kind of built in. So that's pretty good. Now you're going to want to really give yourself some extra planning and tech support time when going down this brand launch style. So you might not want to go it alone on this one, unless you are already pretty seasoned with your Facebook ad campaigns. But it's a killer brand launch strategy and one that you can absolutely use alongside all of the others. So could this one work for you? Remember the work that you've done in your brand clarity and ask yourself if it fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customers want to experience from you. Strategy number 5, the Friends in High Places launch. So, as that saying goes, we are known by the company we keep. Your business really can communicate volumes about its new brand just by simply associating itself with other brands that already have kind of solid equity with your target audience, which is really just a fancy way to say that if you've got friends who have an audience similar to the ones that you know are your perfect people, and you know this brand more than just being kind of Facebook friends, then reach out and ask if they'd like to help you launch your brand. Of course, you'll have prepared something of immense value for their audience that really showcases your brand but does not distract from the person whose audience you are connecting with, then this strategy will work brilliant. And it does work best, I mean, if you have already got a network of great business friends who you have supported year round and you know are not going to be kind of basic over the idea that you're asking them to help them out. This is not a strategy to try to use if you don't really know the person that you want to ask. Now, I know you wouldn't be, but I have to say it. Don't be that guy that sneaks into someone's inbox asking for favors without really ever giving value first. So, do you have a friend in high places that would love to support you back? Then think about the work that you've done on your brand clarity and ask yourself if this fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customers want to experience from you. Number 6, the Guerrilla brand launch. So this is the king of the stealthily effective ways to launch your brand. The Guerrilla brand launch is not for the creatively challenged because it does demand all your originality and resourcefulness to really stand out. But when done well, you can gain a large amount of attention and a lot of website traffic and maybe a bit of profit while spending very little on this style of launch. And so if you want to give the kind of Guerrilla brand launch a try, then keep an eye on viral trends and really study those for clues in how you can make this style of launch work for you. Or go old school with a physical kind of mailer sent to some key influencers in your audience. The limit really is only your imagination with this style of brand launch. So you will need to be inventive and unconventional, but it'll absolutely be worth it. So ask yourself, could this work for you? Remembering the work that we've already done on brand clarity, ask yourself if this style of launch fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customers want to experience from you. Then we've got number 7, the brand event launch. So this is another one of my favorites because it's easy and there is no limit to the kind of simplicity for how you can host this style of event launch. So think of it a bit like hosting a party somewhere that you love, other than it being at your house or somewhere that you love. You're doing it online and you're hosting it for your brand. So maybe you run a day-long kind of open house event online with a bit of a behind-the-scenes showcase of your office and your facilities and what you do. Perhaps it's a bit of a behind the scenes of your brand, or maybe do an event to really showcase what your brand stands for and what your offers are. Maybe invite a few guest speakers along to really talk about what it is that you do and build awareness around the subjects that you are going to be talking about within your brand. Create a bit of a mini peek into what it is that you do best. I mean, maybe you're hosting a dance party to show off your dance program, or you could do a week-long event or a Facebook party, or have an all-access Voxer day if you're into showcasing your coaching skills. Share your best content and invite everyone and bring them into your brand through what it is that you really know and do best. So there's so many ways that this could work for your brand, and it is one of the most kind of adaptable launch strategies out there. So I'm pretty certain this one would work for any of you, but ask yourself, could this work for me? And remember all of that work that you've done so far and ask if it fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customers want to experience. Then finally, number 8, the branded giveaway. So this is similar to the challenge launch in a kind of being a fun and really effective way to build excitement before your launch. You're going to host a branded giveaway. So you want to invite your audience to join in a simple contest with a clear giveaway at the end. I mean, maybe it's a branded box of what you sell, or it's a free session with you, or a place on a program that you're going to go on to offer. Whatever it is, just make sure that it's entertaining and refreshing and directly related to what you want to be known for. Then show up, build a relationship with your audience, and really encourage people to join in and share your contest. But most importantly, make sure that the giveaway is exclusive and worthwhile. The prize should be something that really appeals to your tribe of perfect customers and will inspire your audience to interact with your brand. So could this work for you? Remember the work that you've done in your brand clarity and ask yourself if it fits with what you want to be known for and what your perfect customer wants to experience for you. And that's it. 8 ways to launch your brand, and none of them involve selling your soul or showing up in any other way than what you want to be known for. Now, you can pick and choose from these. You could do a hybrid brand launch of your own that pulls out some of the best elements from each of these strategies. There's no one way to launch your brand. The only way is the way that works for your personal style, your brand personality, and that reflects what your perfect customers want to want to see from you. So as always, I would absolutely love to hear your takeaways from today's class. I mean, it's been a shorter one than the last couple, but with lots to think about in there. So tag me over on Facebook or Instagram and let me know what you love the most from tonight's class. Let me know kind of what strategy you might start to do when you launch your brand. It'll also add another tick in that easy way to show up for your brand list this week too. And if you have loved what you heard tonight, then it really would mean the world for me if you would share the Brand Together link with your friends. So send them on over to bydesign.co.uk/brand together, and let's invite as many people in so that we can all brand together. And that's it for tonight. So I hope that you have loved this class. And if you'd like a copy of the notes from tonight, then just let me know and I will pop these in the group for you, along with the questions thread that will be up very soon for any of your brand launching questions. And I'll be in the group answering any questions I can over the weekend. And then we're going to be back to it on Monday for the final episode in the series, The Brand Teardown. You won't want to miss that one. So until then, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you over in the group in the comments.